In the previous video, we learned how to use the basic methods to insert, delete, replace, and get text from the text widget. In this video, we'll continue from where we left off in that previous example to demonstrate how we can identify and name sections of the text with tags and marks. Tags describe a range or collection of characters, and marks specify a specific location between two characters within the text widget. We can use those tags and marks to change properties, such as the font and color, for sections of text, and control where to insert or delete text. To add a tag to the text widget, we use the add_tag method. This takes three parameters. The first parameter is the name of the tag we want to create as a string. So I'm going to call this tag my tag. And then we give it a start and end for that tag to span. So I want my tag to span starting with the first character within my text widget, and I want it to go all the way to the end of the first word that first character is in. My mistake. It's not the add tag method. It's the tag_add method. The order does matter there. After we've added a tag to our text, we can configure properties about that tag using the tag_configure method. We pass in the first parameter, which is the name of the tag we want to configure, and then we can specify one or more properties. So for example, let me change the background here to be yellow. And since this tag spans from the beginning of the text field to the end of the first word, if I execute that, you'll see now the word this is highlighted in yellow. Other tag configuration options include font, foreground, justify, overstrike, underline, wrap, and more other common text options. It's possible to create multiple tags that reference the same section of text. If the configuration options for those tags have a conflict, it'll be settled based on a priority system where the most recently created tag has the highest priority. If you need to modify the priority of your tags, you can do so by using the tag_raise and tag_lower methods. If you want to remove the tag from a section of text, you can do that using the tag_remove method. You pass in the name of the tag you want to remove. So I'm going to remove my tag. And then you pass in the start and end index of the section you want to remove it from. So I'm going to remove everything from character 1.1, which is line 1, character 1, to 1.3. However, this index is non-inclusive, so it's not actually going to remove the tag from character 1.3, so it'll remove the tag on character 1.1 and 1.2. If I execute this, you notice since that tag for my tag got removed, those two characters are no longer highlighted yellow. If you want to find out what characters are included within a tag, you can use the tag_ranges method. If you pass in the name of a tag, so I'll say my tag, it'll return to you the start and end locations of the sections covered by that tag. So my tag currently covers character 1.0 to 1.1, and then it covers character 1.3 to 1.4. To get a list of all of the tags that exist within my text widget, I can use the tag_names method. So this returns a list of all the tags that exist in my text, and you'll see I have the my tag here, and I also have this special tag called SEL, which stands for select. This tag is automatically updated to span whatever the selected area of the text is. You can use this select tag when binding to the virtual selection event of the text widget, which will be covered in the later virtual events section of the course. If we provide the tag_names method with an index, it'll return all of the tags that are included within that index. So I'll provide it the index of 1.0, which is the first character, and this will return my tag because my tag is the only tag that currently covers that character. In addition to using them to configure properties, another reason we might want to create tags is that they can be used as indices. But since tags span multiple characters and indices have to refer to a single character, you have to specify whether you want to use the start or end of the tag for an index. So if I wanted to use the tag as an index within the replace command, I could say my_tag, and I'll specify the first character within that tag. I'll use that as the first index for my replace method, and then I can specify my_tag last, which refers to the last character that's within that tag. And then since I'm using the replace method, I need to add the text I'm going to replace it with. I'll say that because we're replacing the word this with that. When I execute it, You see, I no longer have this up there. Now it says that. The coloring has been gone because the act of replacing that also had the side effect of deleting the tag. It's worth noting here that you can manually specify to delete a tag by using the tag delete method. It works by taking the tag you want to delete as its only parameter. So this would delete my tag. In addition to using tags to reference sections of the text, we can also create marks to indicate a particular place in the text. Unlike tags, which have a start and an end, marks specify a single position which exists between two characters. Marks follow that position between characters as text is inserted or deleted from the text widget. To get a list of the marks that are present in a text widget, you can use the mark_names method. The two marks we see here are two marks that TK automatically keeps track of. One is named insert, and as the name suggests, it marks the current index of the insert cursor. The other automatically tracked mark is named current and specifies the index that is currently under the mouse. One of the main reasons for using marks is that you can use the mark name as the base for an index. Let's use that automatically tracked insert mark as the index for an insert method. So I'll set for the index of where I want to insert my text. I'll reference that insert mark by entering a string with insert in it. And then I'll pass the insert method the text I want to insert there. So this will insert an underscore at the position of the insert marker. I'm going to place that insert marker right here before the word first. And when I execute it, you'll see it inserts that underscore where that insert marker was. You can also create and modify the location of marks using the mark_set method. You pass in the name of the mark you want to create. So I'll create one called myMark. And then you pass in the index of where you want that mark to be. So I'll place this mark at the end of the text widget. As I mentioned earlier, marks follow their relative location in the text widget as additional text is inserted or deleted. This raises an interesting question. Since the mark only represents a single location between characters, if text is inserted at the point where the mark is, where does it go? Does it go to the left or does it go to the right? Marks have a property called gravity, which determines whether the mark will stick to the character on its left or right if things shift around. To configure the gravity, we use the mark_gravity method. We pass in the name of the mark we want to configure. So I'm going to configure my mark here. And then we pass in a string of either left or right. Those are the two options that are available for gravity, and they specify which side the mark will follow. I'm going to configure my mark to follow the right side. When we're done using a mark, we can remove it by using the mark_unset method. The only parameter we need to pass here is the name of the mark to remove. That covers the basics of using tags and marks within the text widget. There are a few other things I want to show you about the text widget here for your knowledge. In addition to holding text, the text widget can also contain pictures and even other TK widgets. This enables it to function somewhat like a geometry manager. To add an image to the text widget, I first need to create the image in tk-enter using the photo image constructor method. We learned about this earlier with the label and button videos. I pass in the path to my python_logo.gif file. And I've created this photo image object and stored it in a variable called image. Now to add it to my text box, I'll call text.image_create. I'll pass in the index of where I want to insert that image. So I'm going to use the insert mark here. And then I set the image property to that image I'm going to be inserting. So this references the image property, and this references the name of the variable I've stored that image in. Let me insert it at the end of the first line by moving my insert cursor there. And you can see now we've added that python_logo.gif. We can also add other TK widgets to the text field in a similar fashion. If I create a button using the button constructor, and I'm going to create this button as a child of the text widget, and the text of this button will say, click me. I can add this button to the text widget by using the window_create method. Again, I need to pass in the index at which to insert this new button, and then I set the window property to the name of the widget object, or I pass it the widget object I want to add. So I've stored that button in a variable called button, and now I'm going to insert it here at the end of that line before the period. Now you've seen how we can add both widgets and images to a text entry field.